In this video, I'm going to give a brief demonstration of how to get started with Adobe Dreamweaver. And in this case, I am using Adobe Dreamweaver version 2015. This is the 2015 release. This is the same or very similar to the release in 2014, but it's very different than the Adobe CS6 version. So if you're using Adobe Dreamweaver CS6, I've got another video on how to get started with Dreamweaver. You might want to refer to that. When you first open up Dreamweaver, it has this welcome screen. I'm just going to click this red dot. I am using a Macintosh computer, but you'll see a similar X in Windows to close that out. And you're going to see similar menus like you would see in Photoshop, Illustrator, and other Adobe programs. First of all, you have in the Mac version, you have the Apple and the Dreamweaver CC and all the menus at the top. You have this extract menu to the left. I rarely use the extract menu, at least to get started. So I'm going to change the screen around. This is before I even make a web page, before I even begin getting started with Dreamweaver. I'm going to do that. I'm going to change my screen around by going to Window, Workspace Layout, and you're going to see several different choices here. Because I design most of my web pages, I'm going to choose Design. That's only going to change the menus and the panels around. So now you see these panels are over here to your right. You'll see CSS Designer, Files, Assets, Insert, Snippets. And when you click on those, you'll see that they kind of change and move around, resize a little bit. So that's what I want. Down here at the bottom, I have the properties bar along with the output tab, and those are what I use more than what you saw with the extract menu. Now, if you need any other panels or windows, you can go to Window. For example, Window Extract brings up the extract panel. If you go to Window and uncheck Extract, it goes away. It should go away. All right, it stays there for a second. Let's see if I can close it. You can also click on these little drop-down lists right here, and a menu pops out, and I can close tab, group, or close. So I'll choose close, and that closes. Now, if I wanted to see the output panel, that's Window, Output. Where are you, Output? It's in under Results now. You have to search for that one. But you can go to Window, Results, Output, and you see down here Output comes to life. It gets a little bigger. If I want to see properties on top of that, I can go to Window Properties, or I could simply click on these. You can click down here and they open up. So I haven't made a web page. That's just to set up your screen. Now, to start your web page, before you even do anything here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my computer, basically. I'm going to go to the desktop. I've kind of just put this over top of my other icon so it's not confusing. But I'm going to right click on my desktop. I'm going to click once on this gray desktop. I'm going to right click and I'm going to make a new folder. Before you do anything, you want to go ahead and organize your work. So I'm going to make a new folder, and I'll just call this Example Website. You can name this whatever you want. In fact, this will be your root directory or your root folder. It's going to contain everything. You could call this root folder or root directory. It's the same thing. Root folder or root directory for my blank website. I'll just call it Example Website. You can change the name of this later on. Once you publish this online, it does get a little bit tricky if you do rename it, so it's good to keep it one name to start with. This one can have capital letters and lowercase letters. In some cases in web design, we should only use capital or lowercase letters. This one doesn't really matter too much. This is your root folder. This holds everything. Now I'm going to double click that root folder, and inside that folder I'm going to right click and make another new folder. So I just right clicked in an empty area and choose new folder here. Now this folder, I'm going to put all of my images in. So I'm going to name it Images. Now this one does need to be all lowercase. I would highly recommend you name it all lowercase, IMAGES. Spell it out. I would recommend doing that. Some web designers do name this IMG, but I would recommend naming it Images, all one word. Now also in that area, If you want to make this, you can. You can do this in the future. You can do it now. I'm not gonna use it yet, but I also make another folder and name it CSS, all lowercase again. Some web designers do everything all capitals. If you do that, just be consistent with it. I do everything all lowercase. One other folder that you may or may not have in the future is a JavaScript folder. Some web designers just call that JS. Some might actually spell it out, JavaScript. I've found most web designers just type JS, and that means JavaScript. So now you have kind of a place to put all of your files. Now you notice I didn't make a place for my HTML file because I haven't really started it yet. Let me go back over to Dreamweaver and let me start that, and I'll show you where to save it, because you'll need to save it not in the images folder, not in the CSS folder, not in the JavaScript folder. It needs to be saved in the main folder. So let me go back over here to Dreamweaver, and to start a new plain Jane blank regular HTML document, I'm going to choose File, New. That's File, New in Dreamweaver. And I'm going to choose New Document, choose HTML, and that's pretty much it. You can go ahead and click Create. Now you'll see here you can also type out a document title. We can do that later if we want. If you already know your document title, you can do that. Or if you already know the title of your website, you can go ahead and put that here. We can change this later on as well. I'll call this example website. And this is another one. You can type uppercase, lowercase, or whatever you want. Okay. Now it says attach CSS here. I don't have any CSS to attach. We'll get into that. I'll get into that later. And it says doc type HTML5. That's the latest HTML code. I'm going to keep that just like it is. I'm not really changing anything. I just basically choose new document HTML and click create. Okay. I just happen to type that in as well. When you click create, it creates a web page. And you'll see in this latest version of Dreamweaver, it does highlight your code in colors. First thing it does is highlights my example website title. See, that's in white right there. Now I misspelled it right there. I can go back to that and type web site. That's how you spell it, right? All right, so I can type that in right there. Now if I want to change that, I can also go down to the properties panel. That's window properties. If you don't see that, down here at the bottom it says example website right here in the title. If I wanted to change that to maybe my new example website, I'll type my new. When I type that, when I click on the code once, you see it actually changes my code. So it's adding the code here. So you have the choice, do I want to use the code or do I want to use the menu? I'll go ahead and delete that out of the menu, and it deletes it out of my code. So it works hand in hand. The view here is showing my website as I'm going to be creating it. I'm going to get more into that in the future, but basically all of these lines with numbers are my code. Okay, so I'll get more into that in the next video. To save this, what you've started so far, I've just started the website. Let's go ahead and save it. I'm going to go File, Save As. I'm going to navigate to my home folder, my root folder, and that was on my desktop, and I just clicked on root folder for my example website. I just went into that area. Now see, I see the JS, I see the CSS, I see the images. Don't click on them. You just want to save this in the root folder. And if this is your home page, if this is going to be your home page, I would recommend naming it index, I-N-D-E-X, all lowercase, just like that. I can type faster than I can talk sometimes. index.html. And leave it right in your root folder, whatever you name that main folder. Do not save it in a JS, CSS, or images folder, and don't make another folder for it, or it will not work properly when you want to upload it online. Go ahead and click save here, and it will save it. Now let me look at that right now. So this is what your folder organization should look like. Okay, so now that's good, that's organized, that's ready to go. If you're ever going to upload your website, that's what it will do. That's what way it should be organized. If I double click index right now, it will open up index. It's just a blank page, but notice in the top tab, it says example website. So I do know that this is my example website. It is working correctly, and I'm on the go, ready to go with, I'm on the run, ready to go in creating my website in Dreamweaver. So I'm going to in the next video go ahead and add some code and show you how to incorporate that code into your website.